are now tuned in to The Money Zone with your host, Folasade, the accountant for entrepreneurs. The time is now, your future waits, your money matters, make no mistake, it's not too late to dominate, so don't delay, get your money straight. The money zone, together we'll achieve your goals, we're building wealth, you're not alone, so don't delay, get your money straight.
Hey guys, welcome. It's your girl Folasade, the host of The Money Zone on RipRadioNetwork.com. Guys, I am so excited to be here with you on this first Tuesday in December, guys, the last month of 2020. I know many of you are like, yes, 2020 is almost over. I am too. But guess what? We cannot end 2020 without preparing for 2021 success. Remember, we cannot go into the new year without planning and prepping and setting goals based on the desires that we want and the lifestyle that we want to live and all of the money that you guys want to make. Are we good to go, Trump? Okay. So I'm happy and very, very excited because if you notice, guys, over the past maybe month or so, me and my team been talking about kidpreneurship, helping your teen become an entrepreneur, helping your 8-year-old monetize their gifts. And so today, there's no other better guest to have on the show than tonight's guest that we have coming on tonight. Okay, Jatali is the creator and founder of Kids Who Bank, and you know that is right up my alley, financial literacy. So we're going to be talking and diving in tonight. So guys, if you're new to the Money Zone, please go to bit.ly/TMZ, all caps, get notified. TMZ, get notified. Look, guys, technical difficulties. Look, I was studying for my CPA and earlier today, and guess what? Jeff want to pop up into tonight's show. How better way for you guys to learn accounting and financial literacy. So what we're going to do, guys, we're going to give you a few minutes to share the video. You want to grab your pen and your paper, okay? So you could take some notes. And then we have to also be in a growth mindset. So I want all of you that's watching right now and for all of you that's going to be listening to the show afterwards, shift your mind right now into a growth mindset. I really need you to think about everything that me and Jatali is going to talk about today and think about how you're going to be able to apply this to your children or to your future babies. And so if you are down to learn about financial literacy, guys, you want to stay tuned in. And so we'll be right back. Hey guys, welcome back. I am just so excited, honestly, to end 2020, but I don't know what 2021 have in store, but prayer and optimist, guys, look, you can achieve all. So tonight's guest, okay guys, you guys have to help me give her a warm welcome, is Jatali Bellaton. She has leveraged her success in corporate UK and America in the field of finance for over 13 years. Jatalia has secured clients with retaining millions as she has attained world-renowned recognition with major corporations, journalists, and educational institutions alike. Currently, Jatalia has begun to focus on YAM, which is Youth Art Museum, located in Ghana. The museum will feature both traditional and contemporary art forms of local and international artists across the world. As YAM, and Kids Who Bank are flourishing, she's excited to present a new subject matter for mompreneurs. And you guys know I'm a mom, and it's rare that I have other mompreneurs in the building, so I'm excited to even see how she does it all, right? Jatalia, the founder of Kids Who Bank, currently has her curriculum in 217 schools nationwide, including 15 universities, and has a finance and introduced the completed version to constituents. They need to figure this out. Kids Who Bank has a variety of subjects taught by Jatalia, including credit, finance, e-commerce, and the exploration of profitable ideas. Kids Who Bank promotes the opportunities to address the topic of finance, which has become more of an open topic, and I'm happy about that, as the world continuously evolves, especially since COVID-19. Guys, can you help me welcome Jatali Bellaton to the Money Zone?
Cheers, everyone. Do you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Unfortunately, the video aspect of it, the password I couldn't get in, but at least we can talk. So just know I have on my red lipstick, my red lip bar lipstick on for the crowd right now.
See, and I wanted you to give me all face tonight too. Oh well.
I got all ready, and I was like, man.
Trump, can you figure
but
it out?
you know.
Okay.
At least we have one aspect working.
Yeah, so the studio manager, he's going to actually try to figure this out if possible. Maybe before we go to our next break, we may have it rolling. So I want to say thank you so much for taking your time tonight to join us and educate us on everything finance. So before I even get started, guys, I have a major question. How did you even get started? How did you create? Where did the idea of Kids Who Bank, where did that idea derive from?
I just really think that it's important that our people get all the tools needed, necessary to be financially secure. We live in a world where we are just known as consumers.
Yep.
And, you know, that's all we do. And we spend money, we wake up, we go to work, and then we spend some more money. We pay bills, we buy things to eat, we have to make sure we have shoes on our feet. And rather you're making $10,000 a year or you're making $1 million a year, we're all consumers. And one of the biggest things to me is it's hard to tell someone to be a healthy consumer if they don't make sure that they are financially doing what they have to do, right? So it's like we have these parameters of things that we expect in the world and that we want, but then how do you do it responsibly? So for me, I think that's kind of how Kids Who Bank, like the importance of Kids Who Bank to me. You know, I wanted to create something for my son, but it just blossomed beyond that because there is a niche where we just as people financially have a history, rather you're rich or poor, of using money as a coping mechanism, of struggling financially, or just having the same people, the same 2% or 1% kind of run everything financially. And even those people, their children sometimes, you know, if they're not told how to manage the money, squander it away. And so, you know, just putting dents in that. Oh, by the way, it's Jatali. No A.
Did I say it right, Jatalia? No.
Jatali.
Jatali.
No A at the end.
Jatali.
Yes. Jatali.
Jatali. I think I said it that time. Did I?
Yes, perfect.
Perfect. Okay. Sorry about that. People always butcher my name, so I try my best to pronounce everyone's name as properly as I can. Okay, so.
So wait, can you wait before we continue? Can you teach me your name? Is it Folasade or like how do you pronounce it?
You said it properly. You said it.
Okay, perfect. All right, I'm good. Now we can continue.
Yes. So as a mompreneur, right? How have you seen moms struggle with financial literacy or incorporating financial literacies in our lifestyle as a mom?
Repeat that question. I'm so sorry.
I said from a mompreneur perspective, right? How have you seen moms struggle to incorporate financial literacy into their lifestyles?
I think the first thing is sometimes you overcompensate because oftentimes parents, rather your mom or dad, I notice that they're working hard. And when you're working hard, sometimes there's this feeling of wanting to make sure your kid has everything, or to compensate for the fact that you're working so hard and you might have missed a game or two, or just that guilt of not being able to hands-on raise your children sometimes, or your child. And so what I've noticed is that there's this overcompensation of sometimes giving away things versus having the child earn them. That's one. So just because the child is breathing doesn't mean that they automatically should be spoiled, in my personal opinion. I really am a firm believer that if the child can start making requests, then they can start earning what it is that they're requesting. Rather, it's cleaning up their toys after themselves, or it's something simple like, they want to go to the park, and then you tell them, okay, well, if you don't want to go to the park, you have to, practice your ABCs before we can go to the park. And, it's just all these little things is showing them good habits. And then as they start to practice these good habits, rewarding them with the positive things that they want, which then translate later onto budget, money, etc. Because some of the things that they want to do will cost money, rather it's ice cream from the ice cream truck, or apple juice, or, a Hot Wheel car, or an app that might be $1, $2 per month for them to play or utilize. All of these things are exactly what we have to fix. So that's exactly what I feel like are the main issues when we look at parents when it comes to money, just the transparency of explaining to their children that money isn't free, that they have to work hard for it. And beyond them working hard for it, that children can start earning it with even the little and simplest things that they do, that all those little things add up to rewards. Just like in the real world, when we have a job or an entrepreneur, those sleepless nights lead up to our financial success. So, and another thing is reinforcing it. So sometimes as a parent, we tell the kid, hey, you can't buy that particular item, or let's say, the new PS5. I just had to coach her parent through sticking to her guns, because she's like, oh, my child, I told him to get X, Y, and Z grades, but he's saying because of COVID, he couldn't, and he wants a PS5. And I was like, well, if he didn't earn PS5, then you don't give him the PS5. You can't take these excuses and reward him for not doing what he was supposed to do. And I'm like, how much of this is really COVID, and how much of it was your son not really putting his 100% into getting better grades to earn this PS5? And we have to start teaching the children, like, well, if you don't do what your part is supposed to do, then we as parents are going to reinforce it, and you don't get the PS5. You don't get the prize at the end if you don't do your part, or at least show me that you're doing your due diligence to get closer to that goal.
You know what? That is actually, guys, I don't understand. I don't know if you guys are understanding what she's putting down. She's basically saying that all of those desires that your children want, when they go to the store and your child, I might be talking to you right now, the child that have the panic attack in the store, okay? Did you have or incorporate some type of reward system where they have to start earning things rather than we give them things? What I've noticed is that the children that don't pass out in the store, the mom normally or the dad normally have some type of rewarding system. So they already know, you know what, we're going into the store. Don't even ask me for anything. You didn't do your responsibilities. You didn't do what you were supposed to do. So you get it. Anything is out of the question. What I'm finding is that if we don't have that same discipline and structure in our rewarding and buying our children stuff, then we're going to end up leading them down a path of having bad financial habits. And so this lead right into my next question. At what age, from your experience, have you seen the development of financial habits? So do you think our patterns starts to create our financial habits around 8 and 9, 7 or 6, or from 3 or 2?
2.
Yeah.
I mean, so the average child starts speaking and making requests at the age of 2. But even beyond that, when the child is a 1-year-old, when you look at a child who is 1, when they're hungry, they cry, right?
Yep.
And so when you're looking at parenting, all these books will tell you, okay, when the child cries, if you don't want them to cry to request food and you want them to use some kind of a sign language, don't give them the food right away. Show them the sign language and then give it to them so that they can start habitually learning by habit that every time I want food and I cry for it or I throw a tantrum, mommy or daddy ignores me. But if I put my hand towards my mouth, they notice that mommy puts her hand towards her mouth and then mommy then feeds me. And then when I do it that way, instead of crying, she gets me my food right away instead of making me have a timeout. So even when your child is 1, before they can truly speak, even though some kids start speaking really young, you can start, once they start to have the request, and once they start to are cognizant of your actions and they can fully see you, then you can start training them. You can start teaching them what it is, how you would like them to be. And that goes with money, that goes with everything. Because once again, everything comes down to reward system, right? And I think that you're right. Like, the reward system is the most important thing for a child, just because when you think about it, when we do something bad, everyone is quick to tell us you've been naughty. You know, I come from a background where I have West Indian and African, West African and West Indian parents around me and family. Right? So when you're looking at both of those extremes, they are so quick when you do something naughty to be like, what did you do? Or this or that, you know, and just let you know, right? So it's really important that as well, when we do something good, I also had a positive aspect where I did have people in my family who, when we did something good, would tell us, hey, you're doing great. You did something amazing. And those moments are really important for me because for me, I was always trying to see, like, what is that next step? What can I do to keep that positive energy going and growing? But I can't imagine always being told I was doing wrong and never having the good, because then what's the point? What am I fighting for? What am I working hard for if everything I do is wrong?
Yeah. I was watching a YouTube video today with Ed Milet, and I think it was John, and they were saying that there has to be a balance between love and accountability. There has to be a balance.
100%.
And without
100%.
that balance, then we tend to now, guess what, push them away from it. So now this kind of also goes into, so the reward system is that positive reinforcement.
100%. And
Okay.
so, and it's besides the reward, it's also just being very honest with your children and transparency. Sometimes we get mad at them for asking or requesting something, but then we don't explain the gravity of the situation. If you're budgeting for, like, let's say, to purchase a house or a car so they don't have to take the bus and you can pick them up from school, then it's important that you tell them what's happening. Like, hey, don't you wish I could pick you up from school and you can go take this particular class, which is maybe a late night class, but, you know, now I could bring you to take that particular class because, you know, now I'm driving. Or, you know, when you include them like little adults, and it's not that you're telling your child, hey, I'm broke, but you're explaining to the child that there are things that a protocol to getting and attaining what you want in life, right? And then that also gets them ready for the real world in reality, because rather you have a job for someone else or you have your own business, there's accountability, there is budgeting, there is pacing yourself, there is patience with yourself, right? Because then they'll remember, you know what, when mommy wanted to buy a new house or daddy wanted to buy a new house, in case you didn't get it before they were born, then they can see a chart on the fridge every time they go to open a fridge that's showing, okay, we're $10,000 closer or $5,000 closer, and they realized that there was actually a process. It wasn't just get up and just spend the money that came from thin air. Then mommy and daddy actually worked towards it, or my dad worked towards it, or my mom worked towards it. And that doesn't matter if the person is a single parent or a couple together raising it, or co-parenting, how blended family, however you want to look at your family dynamic. It's important to have some certain level of transparency so our kids don't walk around in a bubble, in a financial bubble.
Look, guys, she just dropped a lot of gems for you all, and this actually connects to a lot of you parents. How often do you lack transparency and accountability for yourself, and you lack solid communication, or have hissy fits when your husband or your wife want to talk with you, or trying to be extremely communicative, you break down and cry? And so she's basically saying that you guys have to include your children throughout the process. You have to explain to them and be extremely communicative about the message. Okay, well, this is the goal. This is what we're trying to achieve. We're trying to achieve X, Y, Z. Don't you want that pretty backyard? Don't you want that big backyard or that playground in the backyard? Okay, well, guess what? It comes with sacrifice. I'm noticing that if we don't, and I'm a mom as well, mom of two, if we aren't transparent and open, then that's going to leave them with a lot of assumptions and for them to guess. Oh, well, I assume mommy don't have money, or daddy don't have money, or that, we're poor, or whatever the case may be. But if you just tell them, hey, we're not poor, we're not rich, we're not this. This is called discipline. This is called us being structured and being able to set ourselves up to be able to budget and do X, Y, Z. So if you are a mom or dad and you're watching this show right now, I advise you to ask yourself this first question. Are you communicating with your children effectively about money? And being in the Black community, okay, people of color community, right? I know this conversation, we don't have it as often as we should. So the first step to really getting your children to understand the value of money and understand that it's a tool, you want to start communicating with them. So before we go to a break, I have a good question for you, and this will kind of roll over to after we come back from our break. What will be the first step to position our children for financial success?
There's so many first steps as far as at least what I started with the whole budgeting and that aspect. But I honestly think if you're not necessarily including them, and you as a parent, the first step is making sure that you create financial tools that will help them whether you are alive or dead. And what I mean by that is whether it's a 50, some kind of a incorporation, LLC, or a business for your child, or a mutual fund that you invest in annually for your child that will accrue an interest, or a savings account, or, there's just so many levels of the financial aspect of things that are a good start for parents. A trust fund, life insurance, insurance on yourself in case something, God forbid, happens to you. Sometimes people think, oh, I'm going to die at 40-something years old. I'll die at 100-something years old. And you think you have your whole life ahead of you. I had someone, she was 21 and she just had her first kid, and she booked a session with me. And I remembered she made the comment oh, I probably won't die till my 40s or 50s. Most people in my family don't die till then. And I was like, and she's like, they die technically young in their 40s and 50s, but she was like, but I at least have until then.
What?
And I was like, they die from health complications. And then she had this really defeatist attitude surrounded this. And she said it so casually, it stopped me in my tracks. And I was like, well, for starters, people die at 16 years old. You can walk out your house right now and get hit by a car, God forbid. I'm like, so realistically, there isn't an age. Maybe because of health complications, your family might have a certain history, but what are you doing to change that? Are you changing your eating habits? Are you going to a specialist from now? And it's just, the best thing that we can do as parents is are making sure that no matter if we're physically in the picture or not, that our children are financially set. And at least have somebody, not just your family member, but maybe an attorney or somebody who's an overseer, and making sure our children would get this money and it's a third party that is non-objective to make sure that our children are good. And even making sure that we leave behind a little blueprint for our kids,
Yes.
not necessarily saying a book, but even just a voice memo with your top financial memos and things you've learned over time to tell your child, like, hey, you know what? This was mommy's mistake, or this is how I built my credit. And if credit is still a factor by the time you're of an age to grow your credit, here are some tips that mommy did or daddy did to help you on your journey. But I think that's the best place to start before you even start teaching the kids, making sure that from you're having a kid and the child actually is born and they have a social security number, go open up a stock investing account for your child. Go purchase a share of Google or whatever company you're interested in. Not particularly Google. I'm not, professional opinion. It's pick whatever is best for you, but be proactive.
That was good, Jatali. You did that one. Guys, remember, we've all seen those romantic movies where the mom was pregnant and she sent the emails to the child, or she left the messages in the bottle. So look, let's put a spin on that. We're gonna break generational curses, wealth curses, right? And let's start it. You can take Jatali's example, or you can do the email example like we've seen in the book, or the message in the bottle, or the scrapbook, whatever the case may be. Why not we transfer our knowledge and also some instruments, stocks, insurance and everything else to our children? But it starts now, guys, not when you're 10 years from now. It starts now, the little bit that you're investing. So just like me, I'm investing little by little for Brent and Bryce. Like the other day, I went and bought some of those Lysol stocks. Wall Street Trapper said he gave us the 4-digit code. I went into the kids' TD Ameritrade account on my phone, and I purchased them a few shares of the stock. Nothing major, nothing big, but I'm building their future. So guys, what I would love for you to do, take a quick minute. If you haven't grabbed your pen and your paper yet, she's dropping some major gems. And guys, you do not want to miss it. Please share the video and go and head to our mailing list so you can find out all of our upcoming guests and get any resources that our guest leaves, or any additional tips and PDFs or anything that my team also create for you guys. So go to bit.ly/TMZ get notified. TMZ get notified. So guys, give us a few minutes and we'll be oh yeah, Jatali, Trump said don't hang up, okay? So give us a few minutes and we'll be right back. Many entrepreneurs fail is because of their self-avoidance, that lack of self-accountability, and really focusing on yourself. So many of the times we're afraid to leverage relationships because we also didn't know we didn't do all the work that we needed to do. So take advantage of what Raven just said. If you have friends that are in high places, leverage those relationships, but make sure you do it strategically and make sure there's some strategy behind it. Many of you are starting businesses because it looked like it, everybody else is doing it. It looked cool. It looked this, and it's not around your purpose and your passion. So what many of you are doing is you're taking those shortcuts in those businesses that you guys presently have because you never initially started up on the right foot. Because that's one of the things when I ask new startups, they're not clear. They cannot tell me the age, the demographics, the income, the avatar of their client. So from your perspective, how important is identifying your target market and getting that business off the ground? That the millennials want the success right now, right away. They don't have the courage to continue past year one if they had a year of failures. So now, if you are that millennial and you've quit on every idea that you started or every new business, stop and put in some work for at least a year or two in something consistently, and then judge your success off of that. You cannot judge your success because you didn't got a Shopify page and you put it up there and you put the link in your Instagram and nobody bought for over 6 months. Like, you cannot say you did your job by just doing those few basic steps. You have to do the leg work. So books like Raven's workbook, The Game Changer, is that part of the leg work that I see from my experience, many millennials try to avoid. Yes, you may not need the old school business plan, but you need some type of plan. Success. Is the year that everything impacts your bottom line. And as an accountability accountant, I've seen it. I've seen when clients are not, number one, transparent and honest how it impacts their bottom line. I've seen when clients aren't operating in their greatness and accepting responsibility, how it impacts their bottom line.
Accountability for your actions. You can take all the credit in the world for the things that you do right, as long as you also take responsibility for the things you do wrong. It must be a balanced equation. You don't get it one way and not the other. You get to take credit when you also take accountability.
Oh, TMZ get notified. Hey guys, welcome back. So look, me and Jatali were talking about how to set your children up for financial success. And we also learned, guys, that it starts when the moment they start begging. And so me and my husband have a saying, because we feel like we're raising our children to be uber, hyper, or high performers. So with that being said, I always tell Bryn, you really don't want anybody to give you anything. You want to earn it. And so if you ask Bryn, do you want this? She'll look at you like, okay, what stipulations is with this? Are you giving it to me? Or do I need to do something to earn it? So that's what we kind of do in our household. And I don't reward for chores, because me and my husband feel as though clean up your house, you don't get paid to do that, so why compensate the kids now? That's just our belief, but everybody have their own belief. So basically, while we're talking and we're having this conversation today, you need to pull out those little beliefs that you and your spouse or your husband or wife, that you guys would love to incorporate to, create better humans and more financially literate humans, especially if they're of color. So Jatali, are you there?
I am. Can you hear me?
Yes, and I see your face, your red lipstick and everything. Yes, Trump,
yeah,
you didn't want her. You got a surprise, lady, Trump. Yes. Okay, guys, you probably can see her. Oh, I'm excited. See, this is what I'm talking about now. Okay, so we were just going, and we left the show talking about how to set your children up for success. And so we were also leaning in the fact that we have to be transparent and open and communicative, and we have to communicate things with our children. And it's so funny because earlier today when I was doing my prayer session, I was reading John chapter 1, I think it was verse 17, when he said, Moses is the one that gives you guys the laws. I'm just paraphrasing. Moses is the one that gives you guys the laws, but it's Jesus Christ that give you guys grace and trust and truth. Sorry, grace and truth. So many of you right now aren't really honest with yourself about your personal finances, and you don't understand how detrimental that is. I'm asking you as a mom myself and as an accountant myself that if you continuously hold the truth from yourself, then you're going to set your children up to duplicate the mistakes that you're making right now. And we're in this phase, especially with 2020. You see Jatali's here and all of us online. I'm really trying to give you guys the blueprint. This is the year for you guys to hold yourself accountable and be very truthful with yourself and say, you know what? I don't know what I'm doing with my finances. I'm not doing things right. Where do I get help? So I know you have a book. Can you tell me about the kids' book? I know it's about entrepreneurship, or no, they wanted to buy something for like $550, and then there's a lesson around the book. Can you tell me, tell the audience about the book and where they can find your book and all of that?
So for starters, it's interesting that you bring up the book, because what you were just discussing in regards to how you and your husband don't feel like, you don't have to pay the kids to do the things that they should do, like cleaning their house. In the book, the kids, they have a game console they want to purchase for $550. And as we as parents know, the games never stop coming. Every few years is another one, and it's like another $500. And we get to this point in the book where the kids go to ask their parents for the money, and most of their parents say, no, we're not going to give you the money. You have to earn it. Figure it out by yourself, but we're not going to give you the money. And the kids decide to become entrepreneurs because they really want to earn the money. And so fast forward, you follow the journey of these kids basically earning the money by themselves, getting summer jobs, and becoming entrepreneurs and babysitting clubs and all kinds of cool activities to earn that. And, it's interesting because it talks about depreciation and compound interest, credit scores. It talks about marketing and branding, just a lot of the basics that our kids should know. And what's funny to me is when you were saying that, one of the things that in my second book that I'm writing for the same series, which is the Wants versus Needs. The first book was Wants versus Needs. And the second book is going to be talking about investing on the next level, right? Okay. And these little kids are going to start investing in real estate at the age of like 13 and 14 years old in the book. And, so as we see the progression of the book, one of the things that we tackle is like just parents acknowledging the things that their kids do. Because we don't have to necessarily pay them for acknowledgement with, money is not the only acknowledgement, because some parents might not have a budget, might not even have an extra dollar to get their child or give their child something like an allowance. But sometimes something as simple as telling your child, you did great. I noticed you did the dishes already. Amazing. The kitchen looks clean and perfect. Your room smells great. I'm so happy you put the dirty socks in the hamper. Those little things go so far. So in the second book, because when we started going into the school systems, we noticed that affirmations were missing. And people forget that negative affirmations are even as powerful as positive affirmations, right? So this second book also has a lot of affirmations in it. And it was because we would go to the schools and kids would be like, yo, I'm broke. I'm going to be broke forever until I can get old enough to have a real job. Like they would say things like that. And I'm like, you're speaking negative affirmations into existence. And then we as an organization, when we come in, whether it's college students or, youth who are third graders, we start to teach them positive affirmations and we speak that positivity into them, which is something that we realize sometimes they're not even getting from home, right? Yeah. Because things are expected of them and no one tells them good job or you did great. But guess what? If you forget to take out your garbage, I remember sharing a story recently. I had an aunt and she used to wake us up at like 5 a.m. if you forgot to pick out the garbage, and she came home from work because she worked as a registered nurse. And when she would work a night shift, she would come home from work And if you forgot to take out the garbage, it don't matter if it was 5 a.m., 4 a.m., 6 a.m., she would wake you up to go take out the garbage. But also with that tough love was also like when you did your part, the next day she would cook something that you loved or did something to show you or let you know that, good job. I'm so happy when I came home, everything was clean in a way. And these little moments are very important. So in the second book, we talk about real estate investing. We talk about affirmations. We talk about believing in yourself, and we talk about how kids can build their credit starting age 13 and little tricks that they can utilize real time. And those books, it's not just for the kids, because the kids now can go back to their parents and tell their parents these tricks as well, right? Because now the kids can go back to their parents and say, Mommy, did you know you could start building my credit at the age of 13? So in short, that's what the books are about. And it's really just a tool guide to help parents along the journey. And then we also have like Brilliant Minds Unite, which is when we actually help directly parents. So, if you're a parent who has, little to no credit score, or you want to build business credit, or you are just trying to figure out life, or you're trying to figure out how to ask for a raise, we help you on that journey, because you realize that not all of that comes inherently to everybody.
You know what, guys? So I advise you, honestly, especially if you are a person of brown skin or of color, I advise you to head over to Jatali's website and grab her book. Trump, are you able to put her website up? And grab her book. And definitely incorporate it into like maybe family time or game night or something, and just start exposing your children to a different type of book and not all of the games, and maybe incorporate some type of reward system and getting them to learn about financial literacy. I think that we're in a day and time now where whatever you don't know, it's really important that you teach your children or you expose them to the resources to teach them. So this is amazing. I love what you're actually doing. Okay. So one question I have to ask you, how have you seen our lack of self-accountability impacts our financial stability?
I think the first thing is overspending. You're like, sometimes people get in this circle where they're like, I'm broke. So if I spend this right now, anyways, it doesn't matter because I'm broke anyways, right? I've seen that. I've had clients where I've seen that. And I just remember it being like, with that mindset, you're going to always actually be broke, right? Because instead of you thinking, you know what, it's only $20, let me save this $20, right? $20 is a start. You could, in a year, be at least $100 further along or have $1,000 in savings versus having $0 in savings. And then that $1,000 can promote you and propel you forward to actually get a $2,000 in savings and $10,000 and it increases before you know it. Lack of accountability also comes down to even building the need to, every little thing is an emergency. Spend mindset, right? This broke down. Well, did you try to fix it yourself? Did you try to see if you could barter system with somebody who knows how to fix it so that you can maybe use your skills of answering phones or something of that nature? And then that person will, be like, hey, I'll be your secretary for a month. Can you, in return, fix my sink? It's just so many different ways that we can try to barter. And there's so many chats. Social media has brought us together so well. It's like a spider web. And so little to no excuses. There's always 6 degrees of separation. And let's say you're antisocial, you don't want to deal with human beings, that's fine. But accountability even breaks down to why you are not as successful as you want to be, right? I've always lived in this particular location and this is all I can afford. And you start to believe it to the point that you don't even try to push beyond your boundaries. And you have to now then hold yourself accountable for that, because if you believe you only should earn minimum wage, if you believe that you will always live in that particular neighborhood, if you believe that you can't financially do better than you already are, then you're honestly probably not going to. If you go for a job interview walking into the door thinking, I'm not going to get the job, then you have to hold yourself accountable, because off the bat, your whole disposition is of a loser. The person, you walk in looking hunched over, like, I'm not going to win this, you're not going to probably win it. And so I think when we talk about accountability, that's something that it brings back to what I was saying with the children, with affirmation, affirming positive into your life. And you can't honestly blame anyone else for your situation forever. At one point, yes, you know, your past and your present always have a factor, but your future is something that you can control. So at what point do you take control and say, I'm going to make sure I change my reality. I'm going to get up and move away from everything that I'm comfortable being around so that I can live someplace where maybe my money goes further for me. You know, it's like having a friend, she lived in Brooklyn her whole life. You know, now Brooklyn is expensive.
Yeah.
So she came from a situation where her rent was $1,100. And, you know, it came up now for a one-bedroom, $2,100 in the same area that she grew up in. And she was really being stubborn. And she wouldn't accept the fact that, unfortunately, because she didn't want to change her job, at one point she had to find something, but now she was living check to check. She had no savings. She wasn't even eating out. She was barely eating, and she was struggling. And then at one point I said, well, at what point are you going to either get a second job or move to another neighborhood where your money can bang for you a little bit harder? And, you know, she was like, Jatali, that's so rude. I'm like, okay. And eventually she got to a point where she was like, you know what? I can't even go on a vacation. And she's like, I need a vacation. I can't even go on I'm always on staycation. And not because I'm saving, but because literally I can't afford anything. And so she finally realized it, and she ended up moving to another state. And now the state that she lives in, her money is like, she's back to paying $1,100. She found a job that she was making comparable money to when she was living here in the States. And even as she transitioned, her company was willing to allow her to work from home while she transitioned to the new state.
Oh, wow.
So all of those things are things that, and then so that allowed her to now bank up, because now she was paying about $1,250 for a one bedroom. She vacations and she's happy again, and life is good. But it was honestly, she wasn't holding herself accountable, and she became stuck in her own way. She became her own brick wall. And that's something that I noticed, rather a man or woman, a lot of people do. Right? Oh, that person has a new car and it's wicked. I want to have a new car too. Hey, is it within your means? I don't care. I'm going to get the new car. I deserve to get a new car. And then 2 months later, a real emergency happens, and all you have to show for is a car that now it's hard to liquidate and get the same amount of money back for. And, you know, so we have to realize that we have to plan ahead, and we have to balance it all out.
You dropped the mic, Jatali. I could close the show off this one, y'all. She just spun my whole accountability. Guys, I told you accountability is the bridge between where you are and where you want to be. And I'm just going to close out with this. And Trump, can you find our website so we can at least put that up? kidswhobank.com.
Actually, brilliantmindsunite.com. That's our most updated website. Sorry about that. brilliantmindsunite.com.
No, sorry. He normally showed a book and everything throughout the
no, that's
video
fine.
and stuff. So, guys, before we close out tonight, I just want you to listen to the message that was spoken today. It was very broad. We talked about moms, being black, people of color, entrepreneurship, discipline, everything you can think of. Accountability encompasses a lot. And so I want to touch this because it's on my heart. This is for all my African Americans, okay? Y'all know I'm African American, Nigerian American, whatever you guys want to consider me, okay? I'm just like you guys. I come from nothing, okay? Accountability is what you guys need to accept now. We cannot blame Trump. We cannot blame slavery. We cannot blame everything. Yes, all of that happened. And I feel the remnants of the slavery in my blood. I can feel it when I go make decisions that I was born without, or I was shortchanged. But we're 2020 now. And where you are is predicated on what you choose to do and what you choose to say and the actions that you choose not to take. You're not rich because you didn't take the steps. You're not financially literate because you didn't buy Jatali's book. You didn't build your business successfully because you bought the training, but you didn't execute. Okay, you don't make the money you want to make now because what? You didn't finish college. You didn't do this. Like, come on now. The excuses are now, we need to start throwing them out the window. There's no more excuses. The internet has given us all an even playing field. So if you want to be successful, Hold yourself accountable. Become financially literate, okay? Seek God, and you're going to be successful. But if you don't do those 3 things, right? You're not going to hold yourself accountable, so you're going to get stuck. Every little inch you go, you're going to get stuck, or you won't be able to push yourself. You won't be able to propel. Okay? If you don't seek God, you're not really going to go too far. You're going to live in hell. You might be rich, but you're going to be miserable, right? And if you don't execute, you won't have anything. So I just want to tell you guys, if you want to help your children become financially free, if you want to help yourself become financially successful, it starts with accountability first. If you don't hold yourself accountable, your finances will, or your situation will. Jatali, is it Jatali? When I'm talking so fast, that's when I mess up your name. Jatali, that's what I. Okay, do you want to leave us with something? You got about 1 minute to tell us any last minute thoughts, where we can find your book, where we should follow you, and everything.
So the first thing I would say is follow me on Instagram. Is the thing I utilize the most at Kid2Bank. And I really just want to tell everybody, financially, there's nothing that really is your barrier. You know, rather it's myself or other financial experts that you like to have, reach out, get a mentor. You know, ask a question. You know, you might not get all the questions that you have answered for free, but at least one of those questions might get answered for free, right? If you reach out to me, I, on average, answer at least one question free. And then after that, I'm like, look, fam, you're going to have to pay for some of this knowledge, right? But realistically, you know, look at my interviews, go on my YouTube at Kid2Bank. You know, I have a lot of free information about building business credit, personal credit, marketing and branding, e-commerce. These are all things that Google it. Go on YouTube. Don't forget to utilize the social media and the internet to your advantage. And just make sure when you present yourself that you walk in, you're showing the best part of who you are as a person.
The best who you guys are. Okay, guys, so we left y'all with a lot of gems. So the Trump got to go. He got to go to his next show. So Jatali, thank you so much for coming on the show. We truly appreciate you guys. Go and follow her, Kids Who Bank. Go and patronize her. Get the book. Expose your children to what you didn't. I advise you. We're changing lives, and we're breaking generational curses, guys. I want to say thank you so much for joining us tonight. Jatali, thank you so much again. You guys have an amazing night. Bye, guys. Good night.
Thank you.